back to the Savage Patriots. As you can see, it's the twosome today. It's not, a threesome as usual. Marlon's got some stuff. He's taking care of. Marlon has some things he's taking care of, so it's just going to be Jay and myself today. We're going to talk about this very interesting case, as everyone saw in our thumbnail, the Vance Voltaire,
something like that, yeah.
Issue, yeah. We were talking backstage, and it's a very weird incident, in my opinion. It just didn't sound right. Things just didn't seem right to me the way it happened. I'm not saying this lady didn't lose her life, but I'm just saying the way it's all playing out just doesn't make any sense. What do you think?
Well, and then the outcome seems like a weird, illogical mixture of accusations.
Yeah.
Too. So I mean, it is a weird circumstance. So bring the people up to speed on what the case is.
So there was a vote for transgender or gender surgery or something like that. Am I correct?
I thought it was illegal healthcare.
Oh yeah, that's right. Healthcare. It had something to do with it. It was a vote on illegal healthcare, and this. What was she? What was she?
She was a Democrat.
Yeah, Democrat. Yeah, voted against illegals getting healthcare.
Yeah,
and it was like almost a split vote, and I think her one vote changed it where it went in the favor of the Republicans.
Right.
And then a few days later, 1 or 2 days later, she was shot and killed. Her and her husband were shot and killed in their house by a gentleman that we're going to discuss that was disguised or as a police officer. He was wearing a bald-headed skin mask, and he had lights, and it just seems like a movie to me.
It does.
Yeah. It's just weird, man. He had a mask on, but they knew it was him. And the mask he wore, it didn't even look believable. Like if somebody showed up to my house and I looked out and I saw somebody with a mask that looked like that, I would not open the door.
Right. That part.
Yeah, it just looks like a really bad movie plot. But here's the initial reports. I'll let this guy talk about it a lot better than I did. And we'll discuss it. Hang on. I don't have the rig like Marlon does, so mine takes a little bit more time.
Morning of June 14th, 57-year-old gunman Vance Luther Bolter disguised himself as a police officer and wore a terrifying latex mask.
I don't know. Can you hear?
In Champlin, he attacked State Senator John Hoffman and his wife, both of whom were injured and hospitalized. He then went to Brooklyn Park, where he shot and killed former House Speaker and Democratic Representative Melissa Hortman and her husband. Several hours after the attacks, Bolter sent a farewell text to his roommate Carlson, saying he might be dead soon, and added, "Love you all," and "I'm sorry." This is Bolter's house in Minnesota, valued at $520,000. The 3,868 square foot home was built in 1900 and contains 4 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms. Carlson said Bolter only stayed at the North Minneapolis house a few days a week. At the crime scene, investigators found a kill list of 70 names and a political manifesto described as extreme, suggesting a political motive. Bolter is still at large. State and federal authorities have launched a statewide manhunt and are offering a $50,000 reward for information.
Yeah, what do you think?
In the early morning of June 14th, 57-year-old gunman Vance Luther Bolter.
Like you said, it's a movie. It played out just like a movie. Like he. It seemed like I don't know. I can't say it's a revenge kill, because it's not. But at the same time, it's like he specifically targeted lawmakers and former Minnesotan heads of state to take him out, and then proceeded to do the whole "I'm not gonna live long, so I'll see you guys later" kind of a thing. It's weird.
Yeah, it's all very weird, and the whole No Kings flyers that he had, like in his car. Why would he have those?
Right.
What was his motives? You know, I mean, I don't know, man. It's just, I think they when they tried to come up with this, I don't think they played it all out in their head because people are starting to put it all together. To me, it just doesn't make sense.
It doesn't.
Now they're saying, "Oh, this is a Trump supporter, but he worked for Democrats, and it's a MAGA thing, and it's Donald Trump's rhetoric that caused him to do this." And it's just like now they're trying to put it all on Donald Trump.
Right.
Now, go ahead.
No, it doesn't make any sense for a Donald Trump supporter who understands that giving free crap to illegal immigrants doesn't bode well for his party. But then he goes off and he finds these Minnesotan lawmakers who are Democrats and he offs them in the name of Donald Trump because that's who he voted for. Makes no sense.
It makes zero sense. Why would, and I think you were alluding to this, why would a Trump supporter go and shoot the people that probably voted for something that they were in favor of? This
exactly.
is what we voted for.
Right.
Zero. I'm telling you, man, it's like a bad freaking movie.
It is.
It's the plot is horrible. Whoever thought about this needs to go back to the drawing board and figure out. But this is this even makes no sense. Now I want you to look at this photo, and this is like they show the original picture of the guy, then they show him in a cowboy hat, then they show him with the mask on. And tell me if this. I mean, this is almost laughable. How much this doesn't make? What is this?
Really? That's the guy. Really? This is the guy.
So supposedly this is him in the top left with the cowboy hat on. And that's obviously his picture in the center, and that's him with that skin mask on. It doesn't look real.
No. This is not AI either, right?
No, this is actual security footage, I guess, right here. But tell the truth, if someone knocked on your door wearing something like that, saying "Open up, police," and you looked out and saw that,
I'd be like, click, okay,
yeah, okay. But I guess they thought it was the police, and it wasn't. It's just very weird, and now they're calling it political assassinations, and now it's all political. It just honestly, I think they're just trying to stir something up, but there's a lot more where that came from. Go ahead.
Say that it is political, but what would be the end game for a wannabe Trump supporter to off Somali Sodan lawmakers who voted against granting illegal immigrants free health care? What would be the political motive behind that?
There would be none. Zero. And why would a Trump supporter off someone that voted for what we asked for? That makes
that
no
part
sense.
makes no sense. Yeah, that part makes no sense.
Yeah. I don't know, man. We're in the twilight zone. This is for sure. And here's another one. This guy just bugged me also. I want you to look at his face as he's hang on, sorry. Look at this guy's face as he's reading off a script of some sort, whatever he's reading. But listen to the words he's using and look at his face the whole time he's reading it. If I can get to it. Damn it. All right, hang on. All right. All right. So this guy is like some actor up there. He's not an actor. But listen to this guy. And tell me what you think he's saying. And look at his face the whole time. Just watch his facial expressions. This is after somebody was killed, and just watch his face.
Nations are rare. They strike at the very core of our democracy. The details of Elder's crime are even worse. They are truly chilling. There's no exaggeration to say that his crimes are the stuff of nightmares. Belter planned his attack carefully. He researched his victims, their families, used the internet and other tools to find their addresses and names of their family members, conducted surveillance of their homes, notes about the location of their homes. He also prepared in other ways. He concealed himself as a police officer, outfitting his black SUV with police lights on a police license plate, wearing a black tactical vest and body armor, carrying a police flashlight and a handgun. And of course, he wore that hyper-realistic silicone mask as seen on the surveillance videos. Political assassinations are rare. They strike at the very core of our democracy. But the details of Belter's crime are even worse.
So yeah, I mean
chilling.
that whole
no
thing
exaggeration.
right there, it just seems kind of scripted, and the dude's smiling and he's laughing, and
no. I was gonna say that you hit the nail on the head. Why is he smiling, or at least he doesn't seem as grieved or on edge because of this political assassination. Like he seems like, yeah, well, political assassinations happen, and oh well, we got the authorities on it, guys. And it's like, why are you like, this is a distressing thing, and you're smirking and kind of sort of happy-go-lucky about it.
Yeah. Hey, go ahead and keep going. It's something came up real fast. You can continue though.
Yeah. No. So here's my take on this whole deal. Right. So Chad, check this out. I can't get behind the blue and on angle of how, if we're talking about illegal immigrants receiving free healthcare, utilizing our tax dollars to do it, how in the world, or what sense does it make to where you've got this guy who offs the very people who voted in our favor of not granting illegal immigrants free health care? Does that make any sense to anybody? If it makes sense to you, please show yourself and raise your hand in the comment section, because quite frankly, you must not be all there mentally. But let the record show that this guy cannot necessarily be a Republican because he offed the very lawmakers in Somali Soda who went against, and that's what I'm stuck on. I'm stuck on this notion of it can't be one of our guys, because number one, one of our guys can't be that dumb to pull off a poor disguise like that, and two, to assassinate lawmakers of his home state who voted for his interests, because that's what you voted for.
Yep. I agree, man. It just, the whole thing makes no sense. And then, I'm gonna show the video of Hortman, the one that was murdered. And, when you listen to how she's talking right after the session, she seems kind of nervous and off when you listen to it.
Yeah, I think I saw that video.
You know what I mean? So it's,
right.
Did she know something? Did she know she messed up? It's just very weird to me. So I don't know what's going on with my computer, but check this out. Everyone listen up. Listen to her voice and listen to the shaking in her voice. You'll hear it.
I know that people will be hurt by that vote, and we worked very hard to try to get a budget deal that wouldn't include that provision. I know that people will be hurt by that vote.
Now, did you hear it? You heard the shaking in her voice, correct?
No, she was trembling.
Yeah. So what was she so nervous about?
It is Somali soda.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
And
You know, and I think it was a 34-33 vote. Her one vote, I think, flipped it. Correct. I'm pretty sure it was 34-33. Her one vote was the 34th vote for the Republican side. So did she vote and get some type of threat? And then Tim Walz gets up there and does this thing, you know.
right.
And then they caught, and now they have the guy, they caught the guy.
Right.
And they're not gonna prosecute him federally. They're gonna prosecute him at the state level.
Okay.
And they said that's to keep Donald Trump from pardoning him. That's the next rumor that they're throwing out there. If he goes federal, Donald Trump's just going to pardon him. So we're just going to leave it at the state so Donald Trump can't pardon him. So they're trying to tie Trump to this guy in some way, shape, or form.
But what sense does that make, even if he does get federally charged?
Yeah.
For Trump to pardon him. What sense does that make?
None. It makes zero sense. I mean, these leftists will do anything within their little power they think they have, these social media influence, to try to pin everything on Donald Trump. This is his fault. You know, it's never the Democrats' fault. You know, it makes more sense that the Democrats would do something like this since one of their own voted against their interests. You know, I can see that, but it doesn't make sense the other way.
No, it does. How could it? I don't know what mental gymnastics do you have to perform in order to get there? Because I can't stretch that far.
Yeah, I don't know. And what made him a Trump supporter, I have no idea. I didn't see anything about that, but you know, because it's murder of a political party member, it has to be Trump. That's the only way. But it was the Democrats trying to take out, you know, politicians all these years.
Right.
It wasn't the Republicans that were actually doing it. It was always the left. So this is their MO right here. This is something I think they would do. But I don't know, man. This is just another weird case. This is like a distraction to me. You know, it just doesn't make sense. Like we keep saying, this whole thing makes zero sense.
Right.
It doesn't make any sense. Why?
Now I'm honestly kind of curious as to what this Minnesota bill was that she voted against. Do you remember it?
No.
Can you go back to that last video? Because it says there, end of the session.
Yeah, hold on. In the Minnesota legislature, just says Brooklyn. Let me see. The House Senate bill passes 15 bills special session. It's called House Senate pass 15 bills special session. That's all it says. Special session. It had something to do with illegals.
Yeah. I'm checking that Minnesota's House of Representatives site out right now. Okay, so here I think this is what it's referring to. Let me shoot this over to you in the private chat here.
Let's see.
Bill to end Minnesota care eligibility for undocumented adult immigrants goes to the governor. Minnesota House kicked off Monday special session with probably one of the most politically charged bills. After hours of emotional debate, this is it. A bill to end undocumented adult migrants' eligibility for Minnesota care passed with 68 to 65 with Speaker Emerita Melissa Hortman providing the lone DFL vote. So I guess she voted down on it for ending illegal immigrants getting Minnesota care. It passed 37-30 by the Senate, and it's now over to the governor for signature.
You know, so who's the governor?
Is it Walz?
Walz?
Is it Tim
Is it still
Walz?
Walz?
Is it Tampon Tim?
I'm thinking it might be Tampon 10. I'm not sure. I don't really keep up with Minnesota,
Right.
Politics. But is it Tim Walz?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's still Walz.
So you know how my conspiracy brain's going right now. Right?
No, go ahead. Keep going. Do it. Go.
So Tim Walz, Tim Walz is a big advocate of illegal immigration and illegals getting whatever they want off the taxpayer.
Right.
I believe Tim Walz is very upset that one of his own voted against it or voted with the other side, because now he has to sign it. And he's probably like, oh, and this is why she was so nervous during her speech. They probably had a talk. They had an agreement. They all talked it out, because this is what they do. These Democrats, they all get together and decide, okay, we're all going to vote. She probably said, yes, I'm going to vote against it, and got up there and voted the other way. So when she got up there and did her interview after it, that's why she was nervous. I think Tim Walz and this guy being tied to Tim Walz, because Tim Walz had to know him personally in order to put this guy, in his cabinet or doing whatever for him, knew him personally, if it was even him, and had him do what he had to do to get rid of her. That makes more sense to me.
Yeah. But then why? So then, but why are Democrats taking the angle that Vince Beller or whatever his name is a Trump supporter?
Because they have to tie it to Trump. They have to tie it on his political rhetoric, especially at this time, this moment in time that we're in right now. Illegals are going off in LA, illegal protests all over the place, no Kings protests. And then they passed this, I think it was the day of No Kings or the day before of No Kings. The guy happened to have No Kings flyers in his car. Then they had to make it seem like Trump is the one that created all this. He's the one that obviously got these protests going, and he is the reason why this Trump supporter, Democrat guy, killed this lady, Portman. You know what I mean? I don't know. It makes sense to me. The Tim Walz, the Democratic Party is known for taking people out. Don't let it fool you.
Right. Let me see here. Okay. So the bill is called HF1 by under the Minnesota legislator. The time. This is about a week old. Hang on a second.
Yeah. What? When they passed the bill?
Well, the actual bill itself. Hang on, I'm going to send it to you in the chat again. So, a bill. So this is Minnesota HF1, bill for an act relating to health and modifying Minnesota care coverage eligibility, amending Minnesota Statute 2024, Section 256L.04, Subdivision 10, Section 1. Minnesota Statute 2024 section is amended to read Subdivision 10 citizenship requirements. Eligibility for Minnesota care is available to citizens or nationals of the United States, lawfully present non-citizens as defined in Code of Federal Regulations, Title 45, Section 15520, and undocumented citizens. For purposes of this subdivision, an undocumented non-citizen is an individual who resides in the U.S. without the approval or acquiescence of the United States Citizenship and Immigration Services, illegal immigrant. So they're basically saying if you want Minnesota care, you have to be a citizen or a national of the United States.
And what Tim Walz is pro-immigration, right?
Pro-illegal. He's an open border guy.
Open borders guy.
Yeah.
So, this kind of makes made him look like a fool, being a pro-immigration guy in Minnesota, Somali soda. Her voting against it made him look pretty bad.
That's not that hard to do with Tim Walz, though, you got to admit.
Yeah.
But
he's slow. So, and there's another anomaly to this shooter himself. So the guy was married, but he had roommates. He was living with another guy. I'm telling you, man, this whole story is just, it's a bad movie plot. He had a roommate.
Wait, what? Wait, what?
He had a roommate. He was living with his roommate. Just, it's weird, but he was married with 5 kids, had a wife and everything. But this is his roommate of the Minnesota lawmaker's shooting suspect. Explains his politics. He's a Trump supporter. I'm telling you, man. Look at this guy. I mean, come on, look at this guy. Just hold on. Sorry.
Well,
Talk about his
all right, let's start from there. Look at this guy. So this is the roommate.
well, everyone's calling him a Democrat. He's not a Democrat.
He's not a Democrat.
People call him a Democrat. He because of this board thing he was on for Governor Walz, it wasn't to serve. He was just serving the community. But I can't believe a political issue would cause him to do such.
Did he ever bring up the senator or the representative who were targeted?
Like I was saying, no, he never talked about that. I didn't know those people. I didn't recognize their names.
Any politicians he mentioned?
Well, he mentioned Nancy Pelosi. They didn't like Jim Walz.
Tim Walz?
Didn't like Jim Biden. But
Tim Walz? What would you say about him?
well, I mean, nothing. It's just normal. Well, I don't like this that Tim Walz did this. I don't like that they did that.
Did he mention the protests that were planned for
He
yesterday?
never mentioned the protest.
What
What do
think
you
of
make
Trump?
of everything that's happened here and the fact
Maybe
that
I
you
mentioned it to him, but I don't think he mentioned anything.
what
What would you tell him?
I would tell him to surrender himself so he can be taken alive because he's like my best friend, so I don't want him to be killed. I don't want him to kill anyone else, So I think if I saw him, I could talk him down. But I don't know where he is.
And did he listen to any particular podcasts or TV shows or anything online
Listen.
that concerns you?
Did he listen to any particular?
Well, he listened
podcast?
to InfoWars.
Oh my God!
So it said, well, it's like 50% truth. I kind of said, don't take everything what they say for granted. I wasn't a real truthful. I mean, they're on for some things, but some things are way off.
Did he talk much about Trump? And what did he say if so?
I was a Trump supporter. Voted for Trump. If you like Trump, I like Trump. Yeah.
Okay, Cap. Hang on. Well,
Oh my God, dude, go ahead. Oh shit.
yeah, he got paid.
Go.
He got paid. Somebody paid him, and now he's
Yeah.
trying to follow this nonchalant sort of behavior of, yeah, man. I mean, he's a Trump supporter. He listens to InfoWars. Yeah, man. It's just,
Yeah,
just turn yourself in, bro.
Like honestly, like who really talks about InfoWars? We like it, but it's not like something we sit in front of our TV all day and watch InfoWars, So those are some talking points someone fed him and say,
Had to admit.
mention Trump, mention he doesn't like Biden, mention he doesn't like Nancy Pelosi, and say InfoWars.
Something like that.
He was a Trump guy. Oh my God, man! And they expect us to believe that. But that was his roommate, Jeb, whatever the hell his name was.
Jeb.
Yeah, we're gonna call him Jeb, but because he looked like a Jeb. But the guy that was supposedly his roommate, and the dude's married.
That's so weird, though. Why would you ever?
The dude's married with 5 kids, bro. Like the dude is, this is his family. Now the kids' faces are blurred out for their safety, obviously, and this is his whole family. It just makes no sense to me, man. Like the dude's married, wife, all these kids, and he has a roommate named Jeb. All right, here
that
we go.
right there.
So Jeb, and that's his family.
Well, that's a lovely family.
Yeah.
So okay, well, I'll give the roommate this. What would cause you to snap mentally and emotionally to abandon this family deal right here to go live with the roommate and assassinate Minnesota lawmakers who specifically voted against ensuring that illegal immigrants partake in the Minnesota healthcare system and get free healthcare? What would cause a man to snap?
Don't know.
Anybody in the chat want to help us?
I don't know, man. Like, was he living a double life? Like, was he on a down low living with this guy and that was his family? I mean, how do you have a whole family? That's a big family. Probably had a nice home. Probably he was well off, most likely. Had a good job, nice house, but you live with some guy named Billy Bob in a 2-bedroom freaking house. You know what I mean?
I mean, it is Somali soda, so
yeah, it just makes no sense to me. This whole thing makes no sense.
But then
no
again,
one's talking about him.
But then again, it reminds me of I don't know if you know who Stephanie Walshak is. It's a 50-some-odd-year-old male who led a duplicitous life and believed himself to be a 9-year-old girl, and he left his marriage and his family. He abandoned his wife and his, I think, 3 sons to go be a 9-year-old girl.
I don't know.
So this story, there was Vance Bolter, whatever his name is. It's reminiscent of that kind of mental disability, to where he would abandon his beautiful family to go live with a roommate of all things, and then off a bunch of politicians because Trump told him to about not giving illegals free healthcare.
Yeah, Trump told him to, and because InfoWars told him to also.
Yeah, that part.
InfoWars and Alex Jones told him to dislike Nancy Pelosi and Joe Biden. And then if this bill passes in the favor of the right, to make sure you go take out the person that helped pass it that was on the left.
That makes no sense to me.
0 cents, man. 0 cents. Like someone mentioned MK Ultra in the chat. That's the only thing I could think of.
But what would set? Okay, but let's go on that. But what would be the chemical trigger that would cause him to freak out and kill off his own teeth?
I don't know. You know, no kings. I don't know.
But
what would
you would have to kill off Republican lawmakers?
Yeah, that's what you would think.
You don't kill off your own to prove a point for the right.
It's I don't know, man. They said, you know, in the report that he had police lights on his car. He showed up to their house, had a mask on, which we saw, rang the doorbell, saying he was the police in that mask. They opened up the door and took him out. It just,
which isn't impersonating a police officer a federal crime?
Yes, but even I don't care if the police are showing up to my door or not. I'm going to check first. I'm going to look, and you know that just didn't look right to me. He looked nothing like a police officer.
No, not at all.
It looked like he had a mask on.
Yeah,
it wasn't even like it wasn't put on his face, you know, like central casting style.
Right.
It just looks like he put it on and just it was hanging out, and he's just not gonna like
It reminds me.
what?
It reminds me of the mask from Men in Black. You know, where the guy's like pulls his face back.
Yeah.
Is that better?
Just and this roommate, I just can't get over that guy. Just some
That
big
part.
guy. They're sitting there asking him questions. Who are you? Where did you come from? How long have you guys been living together? How long have you been roommates? You know, what about his family over here? Did you know his family? Did you know his wife? Did you know his kids? You know, it just makes no sense, man. I got questions. I got lots of questions. And there's a couple more in there.
The thing that concerns me though is this roommate, quote unquote, specifically said that this guy is a Trump supporter, and the left picked up on that audio and they ran with it without thinking about it.
And they always do. You know, and you could say any shooter's a Trump supporter, and the media is going to run with it. The left's going to run with it.
Right.
You know, it doesn't matter what they are. They don't look at their background. Wait till the manifesto comes out. They're going to have a whole manifesto talking about.
But didn't the Blue Anoners say that the guy who tried to assassinate President Trump, he was also a Trump supporter, wasn't he? Or he voted Republican or something?
Yeah.
It's like, you really, guys? You try this. This is the second time you failed with this.
Zero accountability.
It makes,
you know, I don't know, man. It's just we're living in some weird times, and that whole thing just didn't seem right. And this is him after they caught him, and he looks like some type of rebel, like Johnny Rambo or something. All right, this guy. So this is him after they captured him.
I'm not gonna lie. He looks like a discount Tim Walz.
Yeah, I mean, was he on the run? Did he run? Did he? I mean, where was he at? Hiding out in the desert or out in the mountains, in the woods? Did he just turn himself in? I don't know, man.
Yeah, I don't get it.
But, you know, honestly, I think this is kind of a distraction for other things going on, man, because this came out of nowhere. There's no reasoning really behind it. You know, we're confused about why. It made no sense. Her whole video of her interview of her acting real nervous right after that vote. You know, no one's going to, you know, why would you be that nervous talking to reporters? Why was your voice shaking? Why was you so nervous?
Yeah.
Did you get a threat? Did you get a death threat? I don't know, man.
And if so, why did you hide it? But you still went along with your conscience and you voted for repealing illegal immigrants to have access to Minnesota Care.
Mm-hmm.
And even while using all the buzzwords to say we tried really hard to try and balance this out, but to no avail, you still held on a principle, which I appreciate, of not giving illegals access to your social services system. And then a couple of days later, some nobody offs you. What would be the distraction? Because what I recall, I think, I don't know, maybe Michael, you might have it on this. While the whole No Kings thing was what is it? The No Kings thing was happening. I believe so.
Yes, or
the whole
Saturday.
Yeah, the whole Palantir system went online. Or was that something like that? Something like that. So, what do you think then? In order for this distraction to be this shiny object over here with the assassination attempt, what's veiling that? Do you think?
I think it's going to be, you know, the Patriot Act 2.0 after this, because if you listen to that interview that we watched where that guy, I said, listen, watch his face, listen to him smiling or watch him smiling and everything. And he was talking about how he found his address, how he found all his information, how he found all this. I think it's going to come down to a lot of our personal information.
Mm-hmm.
It might work in our favor too. A lot of our personal information getting taken off public access on the internet because, as we all know, you can go to certain websites and pull up someone's whole life, and it was that easy.
Right.
Now, imagine if this guy couldn't have pulled up all of her information of her and her family. Maybe this wouldn't have happened. And then with the whole Palantir thing, maybe it's just another way for them to say, hey, we got to monitor more extremists online.
Right.
Through Palantir. You know, I don't know, man. I think it's just going to end up being with the Palantir thing. I think it's just going to end up being another, you know, kind of Patriot Act times 10.
Yeah, that's scary.
But how do we prevent stuff like that? Well, if we had AI, we could track their phone and we could track the websites they're using and where they log in. And if they have an ID to log in to certain websites, they have to, you know, we have all these biometrics for any time they log into something, and it's kept in this AI database, and they can track anything anytime somebody logs in. I don't know, man. It's like we're living in a twilight zone, and like really, it's like we're living in a whole nother timeline. I think we had a timeline jump or shift, and it's just like
a time skip.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure something shifted, and it's just something just doesn't feel right.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't know how to explain it, but that whole situation again just didn't seem right to me. Then this whole no king stuff all over the place. It just,
which
I think, and war at the same time, and
which, by the way, the no kings is actually was more of a flub than anything else, because only 2% of the population of the United States showed up.
Yeah, it was like 8 million or something like that.
8.6 million.
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah. Here in my little town, there was a bunch of geriatrics out there holding signs, and
that's all there was.
just a bunch of freaking boomers and people from the 60s reliving the good days. I mean, it was a nothing burger. I get it. And you know, we always say, man, you have the right to do it. No one's saying you don't have the right to do it. But then you got to take a step back and say, what do we accomplish? 1, how many resources were used for that? 2, who are going to be paying for all those resources? The taxpayers. 3, you know, and did anyone get hurt? Yes, in certain cities. But it's not going to stop anything. You can protest all you want. What's done is done. What's happening is happening. And I think a lot of this, you know, these things together, again, the whole no kings flyers in his car, I don't even know
that's
what
the red flag
that had anything to do with.
Yeah.
I don't know. He had no kings, and most, you know, people on the right, Trump supporters, were laughing at the no kings stuff.
Yeah.
But why would he have the no kings flyers in his car while being a Trump supporter while working for Tim Walz?
That makes no sense.
That makes no sense. While having a family, a wife and 5 kids, and having a roommate that he's shacked up with, you know,
that even doubles the nonsense.
Yeah, it just makes no sense at all. The fact that he killed somebody that was in his party, that voted against something that his party wanted, but the vote's already done.
Right.
So what did killing someone from your own party achieve?
I don't know.
I don't know, man. It just are they doing this on purpose? Are they intentionally making this look so ridiculous that people are like, at least I see it. There's people out there that probably don't recognize it. You and I are like, it makes no sense. Something doesn't add up here. But there are people out there that actually believe this.
But well, again, it leads me back to the question of what would be the end goal of offing your own teammate that you pose as not a teammate.
You know what? To say that Trump supporters are violent, and you know that's one way to say Trump supporters, political assassinations aren't going to be tolerated. And again, going back to Palantir, so you can understand when things like this happen, a political assassination. You don't think they're going to use Palantir to track people's what they post, what they say, anything that can be considered a threat to the elite?
I mean, More than likely, yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be a very easy on your phone when this Palantir stuff goes in, man. It's going to be a way to track every single word, every single swipe, everything you type, everything you search, everything. Because they can say, "Oh, we have political violence," and it was Trump supporters. When political violence won't be tolerated, so we have to find a way to be able to track future events, kind of like the Minority Report.
Yeah.
So we're going to implement Palantir. We're going to be able to stop these things from happening because a lot of it happens through phone communication and online, what you're reading, what you're tracking, the books you read, the websites you go to. And that's going to be their way of getting into your systems with AI. And AI is going to do their little robot Terminator stuff to track to see if you're a violent person or not. That's what I think. You know, you never know. I don't know.
Look, it's not that far-fetched. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. You know, come with me if you want to live.
Exactly.
So, Skynet. So yeah, it's just all of these things happen around the same time. It's all tying together, and you know, and the energy is just not sitting right with me. It's just like, you know, like in your gut, something's coming. You don't know if it's good. You don't know what it's bad, but it's not. Something's going to change. It's something big is going to change. I really feel that, you know. I really feel it, and don't know what it is, but I think it's going to shake up a lot of systems within the world, mainly in America, I think.
Yeah.
So,
totally.
I know.
But this entire situation has me truly baffled. Like the more I dig into it, the more I listen to the perspective of the left, as well as us on the right, who are like, "What's going on with y'all?" And I'm trying to say, you know, because the truth exists between two parties. You got their side, our side, and then whatever's in the middle. And I can't necessarily sit here and look at the left and say, "Well, you guys are probably right about this, that it was a Trump supporter." Which if it was, we don't care because we don't blame them. But then I look at the people on the right who just don't care about this whole thing, other than, yeah, it's a tragedy. So somewhere in the middle, there's got to be this, well, that sucks that he was a Trump supporter. But then again, the evidence points to everything differently. So how do you reconcile this? That's where I'm at with this whole thing.
You reconcile it by turning off your TV. That's how you do it, and use your critical thinking skills. I mean, you can stay glued to your TV all day and hear them feeding you this, Trump, that, it's a Trump supporter, and that's what you run with, instead of sitting back and thinking just like we did, like, that didn't make sense, you know, instead of using your critical thinking skills and saying that doesn't make sense what they're saying because of X, Y, and Z. That's the only way you're going to reconcile it, is you got to completely detach from the mainstream and look at the evidence yourself and figure out the truth, or what you believe is the truth, and go with it until you're proven wrong. Until I'm proven wrong, I'm going with what we just discussed right now. That's what I believe. Yeah, I agree. I don't believe the mainstream anything. I don't believe what they say or how they take. Well, I take their information and I dissect it and I think about it. Then I get rid of that. I don't believe that stuff because it's hilarious to me. And then, you know, you have a lot of Americans out here that say, I don't trust the media, or I don't trust the government, or I don't trust the entities, or whoever's in charge, while regurgitating the same entities that you don't trust talking points. Yeah. You know what I mean? So if you don't trust them, why are you putting out content about what they put out to you, but you don't trust what they say? Right. It just makes no sense to me. You know, I don't trust them. It's the Mockingbird media, Operation Mockingbird didn't go away, and this is another side to put people up against each other. A lot of people didn't even know who this Horderman lady was, or this other guy, this Voltaire Vance, whatever his name is. We had no idea. Did we even know who they were before this? Never heard of them.
Well, I mean, granted, that's a Minnesota issue, not necessarily a Texas or an Arizona or Georgia issue. So yeah, but at the end of the day, you're right. It's like, so who are these people?
Yeah. If it's a state issue, let the state handle it. The rest of the country doesn't need to hear about it. Right. Maybe talk about it the first day this happened. Let the state figure it out and keep it at the state level. Yeah. Now, if it's going to a federal case, yes, we all want to know about it. But I can care less what Minnesota's going to do in their legal system right now.
Facts.
But it's it's all part of the plan, man, to brainwash us, to pit us up against each other. And I get it, man. We all have our beliefs. We all have what we stand on. I get it, you know, but at some point, I think we need to take a step back and really think about what they're doing. Everything is left. Everything is right. Everything is black. Everything is white. They can't just say somebody got killed. They have to put these titles in front of it.
Right.
A Trump supporter. Why does it have to be a Trump supporter? Why can't it just be some dude that did something sick to another person? Why does that have to be anything else but that? And it's just a way for them to look at the Trump supporters more as a threat. The more things like this happen, the more they're going to deem us as a threat. Because when it came to this No Kings riot, they didn't get the reaction from us that they wanted. Think about that. We weren't out there, not too many of us. We weren't out there looking for trouble. We weren't out there fighting anybody. We might have had a few scuffles here in those certain areas, but in mass, a lot of us weren't even getting involved with that stuff.
Right.
And I think that's what they wanted. They wanted us involved.
Yeah. So
they could be like, oh, these Trump supporters came out here and they were violent and these peaceful protesters, but no one did it.
Right.
So they got to keep coming to them. Okay, how can we get them? Okay, we can say this guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
With the No Kings flyers was a Trump supporter and he killed somebody. Now we can make them violent and take our eyes off all the violence that happened in LA. Now the violence is turning back to this so-called Trump supporter who killed someone. This is the game they play.
That makes sense.
Fall for it. Yeah, they all fall for it. I don't know, man. It's crazy times, crazy world. And, you know, keep your eyes on whatever you need to keep your eyes on, you know?
Right.
And I always tell people, protect your family, protect your interests, your personal interests come first.
Yeah.
And,
agreed.
Don't worry about the things going on overseas right now, because, again, that's just another way for them to control us and to keep us living in fear of a nuclear attack, you know? Nuclear attack, weapons of mass destruction, as they like to say. So, you know, it's just a way to keep us living in fear. If we live in fear, they control us. That's why disconnect from the mainstream. It's okay to watch clips of something so you understand what's going on, but after that, disconnect. That's what I do. Disconnect.
Yeah.
And I take it as it comes, but I don't sit up there glued to my TV all day. And a lot of people do. And it's brainwashing them and putting this fear in them. So now you have citizens out here that are terrified that some country is going to drop a nuke on us. Like, I mean, if they really wanted to, they would have done it a long time ago.
Exactly.
So why now? No,
right.
If they really wanted to just start dropping nukes would have been dropped years ago.
Yeah.
But hasn't happened yet. So it's all fear.
That part.
Scare tactics.
That part.
I honestly don't even believe that any nukes actually exist. I think it's just all talk. Me personally, but maybe I might be wrong. I just don't believe they exist anymore. It's just a bunch of freaking missiles that don't have any nuclear capabilities that they show just to keep people living in fear.
Yeah.
Because again, if you really wanted to take somebody out, you could have, but you didn't, and you're not. It's all about the military-industrial complex sending bodies over there to go through the meat grinder so they could test their weapons out and get that money in, for their buddies' pockets who are all in on it. But I don't know. The whole world's like this right now, and just a lot of violence, a lot of darkness, and people just need to really take a step back and start thinking about it. What's going on?
Totally.
But yeah. Well, that's going to be it for us today. Sorry, Marlon's not here. Marlon will be back hopefully Wednesday.
Yep.
And we don't know what we're talking about yet because there's so much going on. So it's just like, but we'll keep up, and you guys will see us post about it if we get a topic we want to discuss. But until then,
did y'all know that we have a merch store?
Go ahead, brother.
You should check out the merch store.
Yeah. If you can find the link in our YouTube page. So if you go to our YouTube page, hit the banner, you'll see our merch store right there. Pick up some merch for us.
Yeah.
Really appreciate it. Because, we've been doing this for what, 3 years now?
Just about now.
4 years?
Just about 3 at least.
3 years? Yeah. 3 years. We love the love and support. But buy some of our merch. Do us a favor. But until then, Jay, go ahead and take us off.
So like, share, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you Wednesday. Peace.